about herself. And we are doing a video for the Hope After Abortion event. And she's got a story for us, but first she's going to tell us some things about herself. So go ahead, Rene. You kick it off.
Okay, well, I'm a nurse anesthetist. I do anesthesia. I've been doing it now for about 28, 29 years. And didn't even go to nursing school until I was 30. And then I worked for about 10 years and then decided to go to anesthesia school. So I had to go back and finish my degree because anesthesia school was a master's. And I went back and did that. When I was in nursing school, I was also single mother of 2 boys. And one of those boys, I guess, is the one that we're going to talk about. And when I got out of high school and went to a place to lab school. And I was dating someone, a young boy, man, I guess. But anyway, I got pregnant.
And how old were you at that time?
18.
18. With big dreams of the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was terrifying. I remember that. And, you know, what am I going to do? And my first thought was, I guess, oh my gosh, you know, I need to find a way to not have this baby. I hate the words get rid of it. I mean, that, you know, I just thought I can't do this. And I was asking people, where can I go? What can I do? And I wanted to not have this baby. I guess, you know, I've raised in the church, but it just didn't register me that this was a human being. I just didn't want this.
Even though you were in the medical field?
Well, I wasn't really in the medical field yet. I was actually in school just studying to be a lab technician.
But you were dealing with biology and all that kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of, but not really
in
the lab. So it was only like a 9-month school anyway.
I got you. Okay.
So at some point in time, I just thought, you know, I'm not going to be able to find any way that I can not have this baby, because back during that time, abortions were not legal. And you had to try to find another way to get it done. And so at some point in time, I decided that I would just tell the father. And I did. And so anyway, we ended up getting married and divorced in 4 years. But I had this baby, and he was a beautiful little boy. And I think the biggest effect for me is years later when people would talk about abortion, and I think, oh, what if I had done that? I look at him, and he's 51 years old now.
Wow.
He's got 2 beautiful children, and he came to God about 6 years ago because he had a wife who loved him and prayed for him for all those years. And he called me one day after he had been saved, and it was like early December, and he said, Mom? I said, yes. And he said, God talked to me. I said, he did? Well, what did he say? He told me to feed 12 families at Christmas. I said, are you going to do that? He said, well, sure I am. And he did. And then I think, what if I had gone through with that? This beautiful young man would not be here. And that just makes my stomach churn when I think about that. And he has a beautiful daughter and adopted a little boy at 4 that was abandoned and he was 4 years old. He weighed 38 pounds, and I thought he was meant to be with Philip and Donna. You know, it's like all these chain of events and things.
I found this on the web.
I'm sorry. I don't know what that
Alexis is going to talk to us.
This,
Alexis.
yeah.
She needs to learn about this anyway.
He had a horrible car accident in a little red sports car that should have killed him, but it didn't. It's like this boy, this child has a purpose in this life. God has him here for a reason. So you never, to think I might have lost that. If I had made that decision, if I had found that person that said, yeah, we can take care of this, I probably would have done it, because I was young and I don't know, I didn't have people to talk to that knew how to tell me the right things or help me through that. But luckily, my parents supported us. I mean, they were there. I had a good family. They were there for me, and during that time, and so I guess that's my story. That I look at him often, and I think it'll come into my mind. What if I had done that? So he's precious, and that's kind of it, unless you have any questions.
Well, I do, because
okay.
you're given a very different perspective than our other people because of the timeline that this happened for you. Because most of the people that are doing this have been in the time of Roe v. Wade, where it was legal. You're the first one that I've spoken to that was pre-Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, this would have, let's be sure about that, because I could be wrong.
Well, it wasn't on every corner.
No,
is basically
this
what you're
was in 1969.
Okay, I'm not really sure when Roe, but it would have just been started, I think, around that time or in the later. But it wasn't something that you could just go to the local Planned Parenthood. In other words,
especially in a small community and in the South, the Bible Belt right here.
Yeah, and so what was it about this whole situation that was telling you that you couldn't grasp that this was an actual baby? You
just don't think about it. I don't know. It's like I never saw it at that point as a baby.
Well, they didn't have the ultrasound at that time, right?
No.
I
never had that.
Yeah, that would make it. That has made a big difference now.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
So, what kind of things would you say to those people that? I mean, because you were starting out thinking about a career, and you weren't thinking about being a mom at 18, right? 18, and you had also been in the church. Those are all things, all reasons that people give as to why they should have abortion. Why, the real reasons is that, it's going to mess up my career. In Hollywood, these women are screaming, I'm who I am, and I'm famous because I had an abortion. And then there's women that are saying, I couldn't have provided. The founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, actually said that it is a sin to bring a child into the world that has problems or is not wanted. And that would be all of us. We all have problems. And so what was that like for you to see from the very beginning, where it wasn't really well known to where it was, and then last year it was gone? Because we're actually celebrating on the 24th the 1 year anniversary of the reversal of Roe v. Wade. That's kind of significant that we're having this hope event on that day.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are seeing the bookends of that. So, and you're kind of like on the front side of the bookend, and now you're here, and we go to the same church, and you're on the other side, and you're giving your story, and you have this wonderful son that you are just so blessed by, and the world is so blessed by.
Well, I'm one of these people that once I realized the abortion was not going to happen, then I knew everything's going to be fine. I'm that kind of person. An example might be when I went to nursing school. I I called somebody I knew in Knoxville, called Dr. Black, who's on the board of the St. Mary's School of Nursing, and I got a phone call back and said, "You're in. Be there." I said, "Okay." I did. Went for 3 years. When I went to anesthesia school, I mean, I was 42 years old. You know, going in there, it's so hard to get in those schools. It's like, you know, 135 applicants, 90 interviews, and they take 30 people.
Oh my.
And never once did I doubt that I was going to get in. I just knew. I knew that was my path. That's what God wanted me to do, and I knew I was going to be there.
And you did that with the baby.
And I did that. Well,
I know he wasn't a baby.
They were grown up then.
Yeah, but I mean, but you had him, you
Yeah.
raised him, and you did those kind of things that a mother should do.
Yeah.
And you still got your dream.
Yeah. And sometimes it wasn't easy. My husband was very supportive, who's passed now, but he was very supportive in my anesthesia career, which was, you know, difficult and hard, but I'm a very hope-driven person, or maybe it's naive, I don't know, that everything's going to be okay. You know, I'm kind of that kind of person. So when I had that kind of panic attack, or what do you call it, that you helped me through, was something that I'd never experienced before, and it was scary. You know, but you just have to have hope, and I guess I have a lot of that.
So where do you get your hope from? For all these people watching,
Well,
what's your secret?
where do I get my hope from? Well, probably from my daddy. Is a good, I mean, the way I was raised, he was like that. My mom was the opposite. It's interesting. You know, she would be the opposite. Oh, you know, everything's going to happen. It's going to go wrong. But Daddy was like, everything's going to be okay. And, you know, I know that it doesn't, I'm not a worrier, because I know God is going to take care of me. And I've had a lot of times in my life, you know, was married 3 times. And times, but that some women might just, you know, really do some bad things, or get down in the wrong path or whatever. But God, I don't know. Even when I was being my worst as a young woman, out there partying and all, I would come home and say my prayers to Jesus. And I would think, you know, now I look back and I think, oh my goodness, you know, he must have just been going, oh, child, you better keep talking to me. But, and I always have. I've always felt him close.
But you always have the same beautiful smile.
Oh.
and this positive way about you. Are there things that you're dealing with now that you would share with people to have hope in?
Well, you mean like age-wise, or
anything,
retiring, or
I know you have like back pain, like chronic back pain.
Yes,
because next month is going to be hope and chronic illness, and you know, having pain constantly. You know, speak to that too.
Yeah, yes,
because you still work and you're on your feet.
I am a chronic pain person. I see Dr. Nunley for shots in my neck, and I have really messed up back. The radiologist always says, Rene, I don't know how in the world you work and walk around, and he'll say, and I just looked at him, and I did this. I just looked at him. I said, it's a God thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I pray to him all the time for lots of things, and that he will help manage my pain. And I have a certain amount of pain all the time. So you just kind of, I don't know, you just ignore it somehow. And I think the only way you can kind of do that is through God in faith and knowing that He is going to watch over me and take care of me. And I want to work another year.
Really?
For financial reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that He will make sure that I can do that.
Mm.
And I don't know. I just trust Him.
Mm.
And it's gotten extremely strong since Bob passed away.
Yeah. So you're also a widow.
Yes,
Yeah.
my faith has grown immensely in the last 14 years. Matured more. And but you just have to that it's a positive attitude. I don't know how to make somebody have that.
Well, it's a choice, right?
I think
because you could have had some places of bitterness.
You choose joy. And oh, yes. I remember when I was dating Bob, I went to get some gas at the gas station. My mom and dad owned this gas station here in Manchester. And she drove up and came up to my window and told me that he belonged to her and she's going to marry him. And I was pumping my gas. And I got to talking to her, and before you knew it, I was in the car with her trying to counsel her and make her.
So she's trying to steal your man, and you're going to win her to Jesus.
That's
a good life.
I was just like, it's not going to happen for you.
Aww.
You need to accept that. I don't know. It's just hard for me to be mad with people.
Well, if he's a good guy, other people will want him, right? So you felt honored.
Yeah, because he was and that's another thing to think. When I think of my life and all the things I've done that aren't right and sinful and everything, God still brought me Bob.
Oh, He still loves you.
Yes.
Yeah. So now that Roe v. Wade has been reversed and you can't just go down the street and get an abortion, there's going to be a lot of women
happy about that.
I know, but there's going to be a lot of women that were like you just at that time when you were 18.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say to them?
I would say find somewhere to go, like here, or not. We've got where you can go.
Life choices.
Life choices that are people that will help you and talk to you and counsel you so that you don't have to go through this alone. Because this is a human being and you never know what God has planned for this special seed baby that you have.
And how they can bless your life.
And how they
others.
will bless your life in ways you could never imagine.
Mm.
I mean, you don't have to be rich and go back to school. I mean, you can work hard and still take care of that baby, because if you will just reach out, there are people that will help you.
Yes.
And help you get through it. You don't have to do it alone. And I think a lot of maybe young women are afraid of that, of being alone. Nobody will care, or their families rejected them.
And I know you would love them to death. So if they want to come to Manchester First Baptist Church and say, hey, you're in the choir.
I've often thought when I retired, I would like to work with Life Choices and do some things like that with women and young women, because OB anesthesia was my most favorite thing I've done. I've done it exclusively at times.
Yeah, we love y'all. Because when I had my C-section, you were my best friend. Not you, but somebody just like you.
Yeah, I used to go to London, Kentucky for 7 days, 24/7, and do nothing but epidurals.
Wow.
And pregnant women. We do 25 to 30 deliveries a week.
Wow.
And I loved those little women I couldn't stand it. If I would do everything possible to make sure they didn't hurt, because they didn't hurt with my epidurals.
Yeah.
And so
So our church actually has a ministry where every Wednesday night, not during the summer, but during the school year, but every Wednesday night they have a Bible study, and they have community, and they come in there with Nancy Simpson, and then they do baby showers when they're coming. When I came up into church, there was a thing to kind of shun them, and I've been a part of that too, because I don't know, how do you put your stamp of approval on this? And but the baby's not at fault, and so they do these baby showers from our church, and they have finger foods, and it's very nice, and they do it in the parlor, and that's the thing that happens at First Baptist Manchester First Baptist, which is I haven't been there long enough to know which way to say it. Which way is it, Manchester First or First Baptist Manchester?
First Baptist Church,
Manchester.
First Baptist Manchester.
Okay,
yes.
All right. So we do have things there that if women are out there and you're there and you could give them a smiling and encouraging word, I know.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine that is probably the scariest place and the loneliest place.
Yeah, and I think women that have nobody and are terrified and they've gotten themselves pregnant, they need love. They need to know that there's somebody there that they can call or they can go to, and they understand. They're not judged, and our job is going to be to make them understand that this is a beautiful human being that could change that could change your life in ways you can't imagine.
Yeah.
And what a shame to miss all that.
Yeah.
I just think, oh my gosh, if I just hadn't had that beautiful boy.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad he's in your life.
He was so pretty.
And he'll get to see this. And he'll hear his mama praising him. That'll be a full circle. And I guess he knows
boy.
his story, or you wouldn't share it openly.
I don't. I'm not sure I ever told him that.
Well, he knows now.
It's okay. He would be. He doesn't even live here, actually.
Oh, okay.
No, this is my oldest child. He lives in
Well, this is going on in
White House.
Oh, okay.
He lives in White House. Now, if I tell him about it, he can go watch it.
Yeah.
I can tell him go watch so and so,
Or tell him first.
Listen about what about.
So I'm going to ask you this question, because that brings up a subject that I'm pondering with this whole topic. When there are occasions where a parent had contemplated this type of thing, abortion, but then they chose to have the child, what's your thoughts on when or if you should tell them, why or why not? What's your pros and cons? What do you think?
In telling the child later that you thought about not having it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. I don't really see any need in telling them, really.
But if they found out, like after you died, and they found out that it was a little bit different, somebody said something.
Didn't want you or whatever.
Well, yeah, they would phrase it much differently than you, because it wasn't you didn't want him; you were just scared.
Scared, exactly.
Yeah. And that's a whole different. That's a whole different ball game, right?
Yes, that is. It's just you're scared. What am I going to do?
How am I going to fix this where nobody knows?
How am I going to fix this where nobody knows? I'm going to school. What am I going to do? It's at some point in time, and you have to pick your time at the right time, and say, you have turned out to be such a beautiful child. And when I first found out I was pregnant, I was so scared, and I thought about not having you, and what a mistake that would have been. It's all in the way you tell them, and I don't know if you would say they have a right to know, but no, I wouldn't want. If it was, nobody really knows that. They do now. So it wasn't like anybody would tell him.
But he's a good example of how making that choice could be very wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's done so well and been such a good man.
And he has, and it took him a while to get to that point. I mean, he was wild and like all kids, you know, and he went through a lot. He actually had a baby out of wedlock with a girl, and he loved that baby so much. And then brought him to my house for the weekend, and then he found out that it wasn't his.
Oh.
And it broke his heart.
Oh.
Broke his heart.
So even with everything he had been through, he has a tender heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
He does.
That's
Both
good.
my boys are big guys, you know, but they both have this very tender part in their heart.
Yeah. So do you get to talk often, or I know he doesn't live here, but do you talk often and you stay in touch with
Well, yes, keep in mind now he's a boy,
I know,
a son.
I know that. I know
They
that.
don't do these every other day calls like daughters do.
Yeah, yeah.
But my daughter-in-law, his wife, she's like my daughter. I talk to her all the time. You know, and she loves me. She calls me mom. So I do keep in touch with them a lot. And they're special. She is special. Their daughter is special. Their daughter loves to disciple.
Oh.
And she's 13.
Wow.
She'll be 14.
Okay.
She loves to disciple. She's doing some special classes in that at church. You know, she's just special. And their son is Grant, and he's 19, and he's a real special young man too. He's kind of trying to find his way right now, but he will. He's a musician. He was playing hard rock, now he's playing in an oldies band. I love that.
So as we get ready to close, before I have prayer, right here's the camera somewhere, right in there. So look here somewhere, right in that camera, and because this is going to be out there on YouTube. This is going to be a form of your legacy after you're gone to heaven. You know, just speak directly to your family. Tell them anything you want them to know, and then I'll have prayer and we'll close. How about that?
Well, sometimes I think about my life and I think, gosh, Rene, you were married 3 times, you know. You've divorced first husband, second husband kind of divorced you, and then I found Bob, and he was, I thought, why couldn't I have found him first? And then this heaviness in my heart is like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have you 2 beautiful boys, because you are both special. I can remember praying for you every day going to work in Murfreesboro at the hospital. And one day it was like God just spoke to me and he said, don't worry, Rene. They're in my book. I've got them. And from that point on, I always had this peace with them, knowing that in God's time and their time, they would find him. And they both have, and both of you have, and I'm so proud of you both, because you love Jesus. And that's all I ever wanted in my life. And you've taught your children to love Jesus. And that just makes me cry, because they're special, you know. And I love you both, and I hope you'll be proud of me and know that I'm always going to be watching over you. Always.
Let me close in prayer. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just pray for Renee. I thank you for her openness today. I thank you for her tender heart. I thank you for the joyful way that she communicates, Father. Lord, I've been with her, and Lord, she is just such a delight. Her and her sister, we just love them, and they're a delight to be around. Thank you for their hearts, Lord, and we're so grateful that she was willing to share her story of her son, and that she did make that decision to keep him. And we're so grateful of the blessings that you've poured on her and this family as a result. Lord, I pray that you'll take this video and that you will bless her family, bless any great grandkids that come down the pike that maybe didn't know her. Lord, that they will see her heart, they will see her joy, they will see her beauty, and they will know that this was one very, very special lady. And Lord, we just ask you to bless her, Lord, and hold on to her and hold on to her family. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Say bye.
Bye.